Another thing I've noticed that follows on from the non-self idea, the next question is almost immediately, if there's no self, who's reborn?
Well, at least they're open to the idea of rebirth.
Some of them are, yes. Yes, so could you clarify that one?
Yeah, I said to somebody recently, which sort of took them by surprise, that on the conventional level, the mundane level, you can have as many selves as you like.
Okay.
You can have a past self, a present self, a future self. At home relaxing self, at work self. You can put on all these different personas and different, ways of delineating your experience. The Buddha talked about there being a physical self, a mental body self, and a consciousness self.
Okay.
So you can have as many selves as you like. And so in looking at the self, looking at the way life unfolds from a conventional point of view, which is with looking at it from the point of view of us being separate beings, you're Sally, I'm Paul, we're born, we live a life, and then we die. And there is, in that conventional reality, rebirth. There is a life before this one, there's a life after. The driving force for that rebirth is the thirst for life, the thirst for existence, the desperate need for existence because of this continuing wishing to confirm the self as an absolute reality. So that gives rise to all this passionate craving. Those actions that we perform must produce a result. That result must be produced as conscious experience, which means there has to be another manifestation of another body with eyes, nose, tongue, ears, in order to experience that. So there has to be this this future mind-body process unfolding. And in conventional terms, we go, well, that's me, that's my future me,
right,
as opposed to my past me. So in the conventional sense, we talk in terms of me, you, objects existing. However, when you look at life from the ultimate point of view, from the point of view of, say, the five aggregates, and just observing the true nature of conscious experience as it unfolds moment by moment, then you see that there is no self located anywhere. It's all arising due to conditions. One of those conditions is volition. Volition is the driving force for action. So there is this lovely interface between conventional reality and ultimate reality, which the Buddha called condition-dependent origination. So it's understanding condition-dependent origination that allows you to understand the conventional reality of rebirth and the ultimate reality of non-self. They're just two different descriptions of the same processes. The Buddha said, I use the terms but I'm not confused by them, which means in practical terms for us that if we're having a fish and chip supper and you ask for the ketchup, I'm not going to go, I don't know what you mean. I'm going to pass you the ketchup. I'm going to reply to my name. Paul, could you pass me the ketchup? Yeah, sure. I'm not going to go, there is no Paul. What do you
There's no ketchup.
There is no ketchup, there's no Paul, there's no fish and chips. Sadly. Do you see? So you can have a thorough, complete understanding of ultimate reality and understand completely that there is no self in any of it. And yet you can still talk in terms of you, me, the Buddha, House of Inner Tranquillity, rebirth. Yeah? They're not mutually exclusive. They're just different ways of describing life. And the reason that we describe life from the ultimate point of view and explore that and go through this emotional journey of coming to comprehend it is in order to remove the wrong views, the ignorance, the misperception that gives rise to craving, because it's the craving that causes the suffering. Yeah? So in that sense you could say, well, the conventional reality just carries on endlessly, infinitely, eternally.
And I wonder if the two different reality descriptions are what causes a lot of confusion, because I think in normal everyday life there's not even any conception that there is an ultimate reality, there's just this reality. So when you come along with the Buddha's teaching and you start talking about non-self without introducing ultimate reality, people are going to get confused, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And discovering ultimate reality is like learning a language. When you first start to try to learn the language, there's a great deal of confusion. It's just an amorphous mass, because you don't have the template that you normally use in order to understand things. But gradually, the more you practice, the more you look, the more you learn, the more you hear, the more you listen, you start to be able to discern different aspects of it. And ultimately, in the end, you come to a complete comprehension of the language. So the confusion arises, understandably. And one of the things that we teach people is not to mix levels. Conventional reality is conventional reality. Ultimate reality is ultimate reality. There is this most wonderful interface, as I was saying, between the two, which is the understanding of condition-dependent origination. But in the meantime, just be really clear as to what we mean by conventional reality and what we mean by ultimate reality, and learn, especially when talking to a meditation teacher about insight meditation, is to learn to use the right terms. That's just why I insist on people being exact in their terminology. And if they're not exact, then I try to teach them, what the difference is and how to get a proper understanding of that. Because then, once you have clearly defined each, and you're not confusing it, then it makes it a lot easier what it is actually we're supposed to be doing with insight meditation. So, again, another reason why not just relying on books or on hearing audio online or videos, but having a living, breathing teacher is such a huge...
Oh, it's essential. I don't know how people get by without them.
Well, because they're not everywhere, unfortunately. So
well,
they have to,
yes, but it must be really tough. I mean, it's tough with one. Without one, it must be near impossible.
Well, yeah, but, I found that, obviously in practical terms, I didn't have anything chaining me down to a particular area of the world. I could relocate myself fairly easily in order to be with somebody who didn't know what they were talking about. But there's plenty of history for this centre of people coming to live close to Bradford and Avon, so that they were close to the teacher. It's like you can. It's like, how much do you want this?
Well, exactly.
The conditions of your life are the ones that you have, in effect, chosen through your behaviour, through your actions. Why not just go the extra mile? Why, if it's really that important to you, why not make that extra commitment to get there? Yeah.
Once you've realised its value, I suppose.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Coming back to the two levels of reality, I saw somebody once saying that that's not anywhere in the Pali Canon. What would you say to that?
Well, I don't have the page numbers to hand.
What?
They obviously haven't read the Pali Canon.
Or they've read it without awareness that there are two levels of reality in there.
But the Pali Canon, you have the Abhidhamma in the Pali Canon. Are they not familiar with Abhidhamma?
Yeah, this particular person said that wasn't part of the Pali Canon, that came later.
Well, in any case, the Buddha gave so many different descriptions of ultimate reality, 5 aggregates, 12 sense bases, 18 elements, is it? It's not one we tend to use here. There are so many explanations of ultimate reality in the Pali Canon that, in the discourses, in the long discourses, the middle length sayings, there's just so much information available which is explaining the 12 links of condition-dependent origination, Paticca Samuppada. that's not in the Pali Canon, oh, come on, that's what the Buddha's teaching is.
Exactly.
So,
but I guess if you're not, if you either don't know about the different levels of reality or you're confusing them, you probably wouldn't know where to find them, would you? Or wouldn't recognise them, perhaps, if you did find them.
yeah, perhaps. I think in all of this, you have to be, can't be too harsh on people.
Well, no, if they just picked it up and had a look through, they wouldn't really know what.
Yeah, and again,
for.
is there a subtle rejection going on because it's threatening? We have to accept the fact that the way that I trained and the way that I teach, other people may very well watch this and think he's miles away from what Buddhist teaching really is. You just have to accept the fact that people see things differently. I know from my experience that what the Buddha taught is available for anybody to find out for themselves in its entirety. But I also have to accept the fact that people disagree and see things differently and have a different idea of things. The Buddha said it is not I that disputes with the world disputes with me. And I think, you just have to speak and live your truth and accept the fact that other people might not agree. Might see it differently and be active in their pursuit of what they feel this reality is. I am in mine, or you are in yours. So.
Well, that's inevitable, really, isn't it? The way.
It's not a competition. None of this is a competition.
No.
The only important thing is that people's levels of suffering are lessening and being eliminated through a careful examination of their conscious experience. Ultimately, So, all arguments end with that, really, don't they?
They do.
All disputes end with that.
They do. That's the key, isn't it? Really?